Hey friend, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about high yield savings accounts because if you have a regular savings account that you're keeping your savings in at your regular big bank, you are losing money and I don't want you to be losing money. So let's talk about why you need a high yield savings, what is a high yield savings, etc. And you can get started today. Now, if you like money content, personal finance for women, that is what my channel is all about. So make sure you like this video. It really helps me out so that more people can see it, and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you know when I post new videos. So let's get straight into it. Without a high yield savings account, you are losing money, period. That is because your regular savings account that you have at your big bank is not paying you basically diddly squat in interest. Okay, so we want to move our money to an account that is going to have our money working for us in the background while we're just living our lives. So, what is a high yield savings account? It is a savings account that actually pays you decent interest, unlike your regular savings account, but I'll get into that in a minute. It pays significantly more than your traditional savings accounts just for your money sitting there in savings. It is offered usually by online banks and credit unions. And as long as those banks or credit unions have FDIC or NCUA insurance, your money is safe. FDIC insurance is for banks, NCUA is for credit unions. So make sure any bank that you are looking for or researching, make sure that is one of the things on your list that you are looking at to make sure that they have either FDIC or NCUA insurance, because that is going to make sure your money is safe, usually up to like $250,000. It's basically guaranteeing that nothing's going to happen to your money while it's in that account. So, traditional versus high yield savings accounts. Let's compare the two because this is going to help you see that your money just sitting in a regular savings is not doing you any favors. So, we have the savings account type. So, we've got your big bank, your regular savings, and your high yield savings. The typical interest rate of both of these, the big bank is going to be 0.01% usually, which is essentially nothing. Whereas a high yield savings account, you can find interest rates from 3% and up. 2% and up. And that is a huge increase from 0.01%. As you can see here, annual earnings on $1,000, if you're at the big bank regular savings account, you're making like 10 cents a year. That's basically nothing, like nothing at all. If you have yours in a high yield savings account making 3%, that's $30+ per year. It depends on how often your interest compounds and is given to you. Sometimes it's monthly, sometimes it's not. That's going to be up to your bank. But this is essentially a no brainer. Why would you not move your money to a high yield savings account that is going to be accruing money just for your money sitting there? It is a no brainer. Now, here's why you need one. Other than the fact that you want to be earning money on your money just sitting there, you work hard for your money and it should work hard for you too. We need to get in the mindset of putting our money in places, if we're not specifically using that money, putting it in places where it is going to go to work for us. While you're sleeping, your money is accruing interest, right? That is the goal. It grows your emergency fund faster. So if you have your emergency fund in a high yield savings account and it is getting that good interest, your emergency fund is growing just by you doing nothing. Whereas at a big bank, it's going to be sitting there also doing nothing, not getting you any more interest, right? It will beat inflation a little bit more. So if you that's another like con of having a regular savings account, is that inflation is a thing. And if you keep your emergency fund just sitting in a regular account that's not accruing interest, inflation is eating away at the value of your emergency fund over time. Now, is a high yield savings account going to just poof disappear inflation? No, it's not, but it fights against it more so that you can make sure that you're trying to keep up with inflation, which is the goal. You need an actual savings account. Quit using credit cards as your safety net, as your emergency fund. This is how you get into the debt cycle, but that's a whole nother video. You need to have savings, period. And the high yield savings account is the best place to do that. Why would you not, right? So here are some common myths about high yield savings accounts that I want to address because this stuff comes up all the time. All savings accounts are the same. No, they are definitely not. Not just because banks have different features, but what we've been talking about this whole time, the interest is important and it matters. Not all interest rates are the same. Not all savings accounts are made equally. I can't access my money right away. Yes, you can. Just like a regular savings account, your money is sitting in high yield savings, growing, but if you ever need to use it, you can. It is easily accessible just like your savings. Online banks aren't safe. Yes, they are, as long as they have this insurance. So, like I said earlier, make sure when you are looking at banks, this is one of the top things that you're looking for: FDIC or NCUA insured. And there's a website actually that you can check banks on. I'll link it in the description below if you want to check it out. You can basically go put the bank in that you're wanting to use, and it will tell you whether it's FDIC insured or not. I don't have enough to fund one. I don't have enough money to start a high yield savings account. A lot of them only require $1 to open an account. Now, there are exceptions to that, but if you don't have much money to put into an account, look for ones that you can open for as little as $1 because they are out there. You can open them immediately. You can't withdraw cash. Some banks reimburse ATM fees. So with an online bank, those online banks don't have specific ATMs, right? You can't go to, so one of the online banks is Ally Bank. You can't go to an Ally Bank ATM because they don't exist. But what they do, since they are an online bank, they have made like a web of ATMs basically. And if you go to the ATMs, they will reimburse your ATM fees. So you get that little like $2, $3, $4 ATM fee when you withdraw money. Your online bank will reimburse you for that. Now, I'm sure not all of them do this, but if that is one of the things that you want to have in your back pocket, you know that you're going to be withdrawing cash, make sure that the bank is going to reimburse ATM fees. Ally Bank, I will say, does that. I use Ally Bank for some of my stuff, and they do reimburse ATM fees. Here's some common questions that I get every single time that I talk about high yield savings accounts on TikTok. I get a billion questions about them, and here are some of the most common. Do I have to pay taxes on my money that's sitting in the savings account? The answer is yes, but only on the interest that you earn. So it is a small drop in the bucket. And the analogy I like to use is like if somebody came up to you and gave you $100 and said, hey, here's a free $100, but you have to pay taxes on it. Are you going to say, no, I don't want that free money? No, you're not. You're just going to take the remainder of what's left. And it is taxed at the same tax rate as your income. So this makes it to where it's literally just a small drop in the bucket, and you're not getting taxed on the overall value of your account. It's just on the interest that you earn. And your bank will send you a form at the end of every year to file on your taxes. They make it super easy, and you're not even going to miss that money. It is worth still having one. My rate changed. What's up with that? Do the interest rates change? And yes, they do. They fluctuate with the overall market. So when interest rates go down on other things, interest rates are going to go down on high yield savings accounts too, across the board. It's not just like one bank here or there, it's all of them, but they go back up as well. So there will be over the years a fluctuation up and down on the interest rates, and that's to be expected, and that is okay. So if you open a high yield savings account at 5% interest, and then you get an email a few months from now that says, hey, your interest rate's going down to 4.5%. Don't freak out about that. It will eventually go back up. Is my money locked away? No, it is not. It is accessible just like your regular savings. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but you can access your money anytime. It's not locked away. Now, if you go and open a CD, which is a certificate of deposit, your money can be locked away in that instance, and you can't access that money. But in a high yield savings account, you can. Shouldn't I just invest instead? And yes, you should be investing, which is a whole nother video, but you need an easily accessible emergency fund. That is what your emergency fund is for emergencies. So you don't want to have that emergency fund invested in the market, and then an emergency happens, like maybe the transmission blows out on your car and you have to go sell stocks to get that money to pay for that. You want to have your emergency fund within an arm's reach at all times, just in case. That's what it's there for. So we don't want to invest that money. This is why we have a separate emergency fund. So worry about getting your emergency fund built first in that high yield savings account, and then you can go worry about things like paying off debt and investing. If it's online only, how do I access it? So you can get money out with ATMs again, or you can transfer money between your accounts using regular bank transfers or things like Zelle. That is what I do. I Zelle money to my savings. What if I need to use it? Then just use it. That's what it's for. If you have an emergency come up, use your emergency fund. It'll be readily accessible to you in your high yield savings account. Make sure that you're, again, with a bank that's FDIC or NCUA insured, and that they have a banking app. That way you can move money around when you need to use it. And bonus points, so you can actually get a checking account at that online bank. That way you have a debit card, because high yield savings accounts don't have debit cards. They are savings accounts. So if you have a checking account at the same bank as your high yield savings account, you can just transfer money out of your savings into your checking and use it that way. So you could have that checking account just for that purpose. You don't have to, but some people do that. So here's your quick start. Actions to do today to go ahead and get this high yield savings open, because why would you not? right? Pick a high yield savings account with no fees and with good rates. So go and do a little bit of research. I'm also going to put a link in the description to a comparison of a bunch of different high yield savings accounts so that you know what you're looking at. You can compare rates, you can compare banks, etc. Make sure that the account does not have any maintenance fees associated with it. You should never use a bank that's doing that. And also make sure that it has a rate that you're comfortable with. And then open the account and then transfer your existing savings over there if you already have one. So if you're using one of the big banks and you already have a little bit of savings, go ahead and transfer that over. I know it feels scary, and for some reason, this is a barrier for people, but it's not scary. Move that over so that your money can start working for you. Set up an automatic monthly transfer if possible, even if it's $5, $10, $20. That's money that you're not even having to think about that is being saved for you. Some banks also do, they have options for like surprise savings, which is like basically a roundup program where if you spend $5.50, it rounds it up to $6, takes the difference and puts it in your savings. You can look at all that different stuff, but set up an automatic transfer because when it's out of sight, it's out of mind. And before you know it, your savings will have built up like beyond what you thought you were going to be able to do. Watch your money grow without doing anything. Decide how to use the interest. So additional savings, debt payoff, investing, etc. That interest that accrues and is paid out to you in that high yield savings account, what are you going to do with that? Have a plan for it so that you can actually use it to the benefit and use it to the highest good. So do you want to just continue to grow your savings? If so, you can just leave it there. Do you want to increase or accelerate your debt payoff? If so, you can take that interest that you earned out and use it towards your debt payoff. It's free money, right? You can use it for investing, etc. Just decide what you're going to do with it so that you have a plan, which is the most important thing. The bottom line is that if you are not utilizing a high yield savings account, you are losing money. And I will say this all day, every day. I used to have a regular savings account and I moved mine to high yield years ago. And it has really paid out for me. It has really done the job. And I've used that money for debt payoff. I've used it to invest. I've used it for a bunch of different things. And is it like $1 million that's being given to you? No, but every extra dollar counts when you are trying to get your financial stuff together. Am I right or am I right? So go ahead and make the switch. Go open your high yield savings account. If you want help choosing the best high yield savings for you, I'm going to link a comparison chart down below. You don't have to pay for it or anything. You just go and look and you can compare some of the best, most popular high yield savings accounts. And also you can leave a comment below. Now, if you need help figuring out money, how to save on a tight budget, I have a video about that. I will link it somewhere on this page so that you can click and go check out a few suggestions for how to find that extra money so that you can build a savings account. And that way, when you do find the extra money, you know exactly where to put it, your high yield savings, which is going to be super beneficial for you. And I hope that you love it. So I hope that this helped you. I hope this gave you a good idea of what a high yield savings is, dispelled some of your fears maybe about using online banks, and helped you see that this is to your benefit. These tools are out there. Maybe you just didn't know about them, but they're out there. So use them to help get your finances together once and for all. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next week. You got this, friend.